Let's take a look at one of the examples where I have to define a function. So I need to define a function in Python that basically calculates this mathematical expression. Okay, I am, how can I do that? I just need to be able to, hang on. I will just grab a screenshot, put it on another screen so I can see what the hell I'm working with. And first step, I need to define a function. Now, in an exam situation, if I don't remember how to do that, well, I jump to my lovely browser where we've searched a lot already for the other questions, and I say how to define function in Python. And we'll see if we have some examples we can use. Let's see, where do we have examples? Here we go. Define a function. This one just outputs something. What else can we find? Here we go. Define plus AB. So in this case, I have A and B as input parameters. Okay, that's enough for me. So I say I would like to define a function, and we're gonna call it TM for Thomas Math. And if I look at the expression that I have, well, normally what we want, just like in math, we want f of x. So I want Tm of x. That's gonna be my variable. And all that's gonna do is it's gonna calculate a y value equal to 2 times x to the power of 2 minus x plus 5. And then, oh, how is it? I want to return my y value. So that basically means my function is gonna spit out a y value. So now I have the option of asking for Tm of 0. It tells me it's 5. Tm of 1 is 6. Does that actually make sense? Yeah. So now I have defined my function so that I can generate different values. Then we're told to use, where was it? Use NumPy to create a list of x values from -10 to 10 with a step size of 0.5. I remember that we often use it as NP, but how to actually generate this list, I can't remember. So we'll just go and ask dear Google, NumPy, make list of values. Let's see what they can suggest. Array creation. Probably something along the lines of that. Here we go, NP arrange from to and the step size. So I'm just gonna grab this code, jump back to here, and I'm gonna say I had to do it from -10 to 10 with a step size of 0.5. And we're just gonna call this xval and see if that works. And just to check that I got what I wanted, that looks fine. So I have my x values, and then I'm asked to plot the function for these x values. Okay, so I probably need some y values, and my first instinct is to say, if I'm lucky, can I do this? We'll see. Maybe I can. It looked like it was working. Well, what do you know? So now I just need some way to plot the data. Matplotlib.pyplot as plt. We all know that by now. And then I want plt scatter of xval, yval. Let's see if that actually spits out something. And there we have it. I have a plot of the function. So that's one way you could actually do it. I'm gonna jump to the other question, because the question 12, we have this thing where we are asked to plot it until the y value is greater than 300. So in this case, we don't even reach that. But one of the things you could do is you can either just calculate. So let's say up here, I decide to say, you know what, I'm just gonna change it to 100, calculate the new values, and when I plot it, it'll go very, very high. But I can then try and find ways, because I'm sure if I ask PLT scatter max y value, I'm sure there's something about axis limits. Here we go, y limit, let's just try and use that. So if I say plt.ylim and I say 300, what happens then? Other than me crashing my entire thing? No. Yeah, we probably need to give it two values, otherwise it gets upset. So I want to go from 0 to 300. There we go, 0 to 300. I didn't need the show, but that's fine. So that's one way of doing it. I've basically calculated all of the values, way more than I need, and then I get this thing. Another possible solution you could do is you could say, I don't want to calculate a bunch of stuff, so instead I'm gonna create a little loop, and I'm gonna say, okay, I start with my x value of -10. Can I do that smarter? We'll see. And what I basically do is I say I want to do a while loop. Come on. So first I'm going to calculate my first value and say this is my starting position, -10 of x. What's the y value? And then I'm going to say while the y value is smaller than 300, what do I want to do? Well, I want to take my xnum, increase it by 1/2, and then I want to find a new y value, and I'm just gonna, actually we're gonna call this ynum. There we go, ynum. Why are you doing this, Thomas? Because then I can have my x value as an empty list, my y value as an empty list, and that means I can then, I have to do this right, hang on. Actually, I can put that as -10. And I can put this one as ynum. Actually, let's just make it similar. So I'm generating two lists, xval and yval, that has one number, both of them calculated up here. And what I can then do is I can say my xval append. So basically this is allowing me to build out my list. I have to do this right. My ynum is, I can just take it from up here, taking the same code, putting it there, and then I want to append my ynum. There we go. And if I run this, hopefully that should generate all of the data that I need. And finally, I can then do a scatter of, what did we call it? X-val versus Y-val. And that plots, it goes one above if I recall, right? So basically now I have plotted what I wanted. We might then ask, well, technically this goes one beyond, and you say, well, you can always subtract one data point or whatever if you needed that. But basically this is acceptable. So yeah, that's how you could approach the questions that has to do with generating a graph and plotting values and all of this.